What would happen if I dropped Deion Sanders in today's college football at his alma mater, Florida State? He's going to be the #1 corner on the current FSU team, and we're going to see how well he stacks up against today's talent. After watching hours of clips and highlights of Prime at FSU, I adjusted his player skills to what I believe matches everything I saw on film, and I can already tell you, he's looking like he's going to be a dog. The main goal of this video is to see if Prime's skill set can transfer to today's college football, but not only to see if he can survive today's game, but can he dominate the same way he dominated back in the late 80s, if not better. In just this one season, can Prime lead the nation in interceptions, finish the season top 5 in tackles, become a first-team All-American, and maybe even lead Florida State to a national championship? Or will Prime fall short of greatness, not be able to stack up against the talent of today, and just ultimately be trash? But I'm going to tell you right now, stay tuned until the end, because you'll be surprised at how things unfold for Deion and the Seminoles. To kick off Deion's senior season, they're going to have Pitt on the road, and they're looking to take down their first ranked opponent of the season. Prime wasn't known as a big hitter at FSU, but coming downhill full speed, he has to make a big play and set the tone for this Florida State defense. As of recently, over the last couple of years, Florida State hasn't been able to replicate the success they've had back in the day or even in the early 2010s. But having a lockdown premier corner like Deion on the team today, they're looking to restore some of that greatness for this team and this university as a whole. But so far, Pitt has done everything except put the ball in the air, but that won't stop Deion from coming down and making big plays. And while being patient, doing everything in his power to create an opportunity so he can get his hands on some of these balls, Prime has to watch his teammate drop the easiest pick of a lifetime. No points scored between the two teams up into the fourth quarter except for a pair of field goals, and just as Prime was about to get his first pick of the season, it's snatched away by his teammate. But when it's all said and done, Deion and the Seminoles would get the dub with a last-second field goal to close this game out. Prime time and the Seminoles have Nevada this week, at home. If this game is anything short of a blowout, that's a shame. Now today could be a big day for Deion in terms of getting his first pick of the season, especially with this quarterback throwing the traffic like this. But plays like this is exactly why this team hasn't been great for a while. Prime shouldn't have to transfer from sideline to make a play when it should have been made a long time ago. Let me find out Prime is falling asleep in coverage. The ball hasn't come his way much today, and then when it finally does, he allows this receiver to make a big catch for a big play. Here on 3rd and 10, there's 2 more FSU defenders than there are Nevada receivers in this area, and of course, one of Prime's guys come down with a pick. Just 2.5 minutes away from a shutout in their first home game of the season, but this Nevada quarterback finds Tyrese Mack in the back of the end zone for their first touchdown. Having a teammate steal your interception once, that's fine, but having it happen twice in back-to-back games is outrageous. Prime had an easy pick lined up, probably could have took it back for 6, but it's snatched up by his boy. And to cap off a 28-7 win over Nevada, Prime will abandon this receiver in man coverage, come down full speed, and let off an entire load on this Nevada running back. Hands down, their easiest matchup of the season going up against FCS Southeast at the crib, but that doesn't mean Prime can slip up in coverage and not play his assignment. I don't think I've ever seen one man play the option so perfectly, sell the commitment to the quarterback, run right past him, and destroy the running back. Great play by Prime. We're just about 3 games in, and Prime has yet to get an interception, but what's even crazier, he gets his first sack of the season before the pick. FSU is currently only 1 conference game in and only 3 games into the entire season, but it just seems to be a trend amongst these teams. They are run heavy. And then every opportunity he does get to make a play on the ball is either stolen by a teammate or he's right on top of it to keep it from going anywhere. But this game is completely over. You can count it 2 back-to-back home wins and 2 back-to-back blowouts at that. Another conference game for the Seminoles on the road this weekend after a scoreless first quarter, Boston College will strike first. It's been long awaited, but here in the 4th game of the season, Deion will play expert coverage to get back into position to secure his first pick of the season and damn near took it back for 6. But not too late after, Prime almost got embarrassed by this young Boston College receiver, but he did just enough to make him drop the ball. That was a close one. And just as I say that, he almost got embarrassed, the very next play, Zay Flowers completely embarrassed Prime going up top making this catch on his head. And then on the very next play, they try Prime again, and this would have been the ultimate get back if he was able to come down with this pick, but instead it's a drop. But throughout the rest of this game, Deion will show exactly why he should be considered one of, if not the premier corner of college football, showing excellent coverage. The Seminoles would survive on the road against Boston College with a late 4th quarter 3-point win going back home to Tallahassee. Deion is leading a undefeated 4-0 Florida State team who is currently ranked number 20 out of the top 25 teams in the country. Tulia Tagovailoa, younger brother of Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and Deion and the Seminoles defense is looking to shut him down completely today. So far throughout the first quarter, Maryland is putting the ball on the ground hard, but Deion is coming down hitting harder, breaking necks and breaking backs. And of course, after securing his first pick the game before, this game he'll pick up his second, but not only would it be a pick six, the first of his senior season. Can you believe that? That boy pulled off a 72-yard pick six in just the first half, another 10 yards that might have broke the NCAA record for the longest pick six ever. FSU is sitting on a 14-point lead just before the fourth quarter, but I'm surprised the offense isn't going crazy putting up points right now with all the possessions they've been getting handed by the defense. In the fourth quarter, crunch time, Maryland has turned this into a 3-point game, but prime time Deion Sanders has something to say about that. He picks up his second pick of the game, his first multi-pick game of the season. Even though Deion had his best game thus far of the season, they find themselves in overtime, neck and neck with Maryland, and they would allow them to score 30 points and ultimately win this game. Last week's matchup was tough against Maryland, but this week they're trying to bounce back after taking that L against Clemson here on the road. Getting out to a 7-point lead here in the first half is great, but this Seminole defense is starting to look a little shaky after missing multiple tackles on this play. Keeping DJ and his offense out of the end zone would not be an easy task, but obviously it's a task that this Seminole defense cannot handle. They allowed them to get in and score just before the half. Clemson got the ball back with very little time left. They're trying to march down the field to kick a field goal or even secure a touchdown. But old Prime, he got something to say about that. He picks up yet another pick but gets folded immediately after. The one thing I had hoped to never see from this FSU team, especially while Prime is here, is that this offense doesn't produce against these high caliber teams, and that's exactly what's happening. Up until this point in the fourth quarter, this Noles defense has held the number 8 ranked team in the country to 14 points. That's crazy. But obviously, Clemson's defense is on another level. They hold this Noles offense to 7 points throughout 4 quarters. And the Noles, they'll take their second straight loss. The Noles started their season off 4-0. Now they've taken 2 back-to-back losses, one being at home. Today, they're looking to bounce back. The Noles were just ranked, but obviously taking multiple losses, they're not going to be within the top 25. But once again, they get another opportunity to play against another ranked opponent to get back into those rankings. Real quick, take a look to Prime's left. You'll see this NC State offensive line completely build a convoy in front of this running back, and he's going to walk in untouched. Like I said before a few games ago, Prime wasn't known as a big hitter, but getting bullied by this quarterback is outrageous. He does recover and make the tackle, but he can't be going out like that. Like I said before, Deion plays his option to perfection every time. The second this running back got his head around after getting this weird pitch, he got a mouthful of Prime. Under a minute left in the fourth quarter with a 3-point lead, 4th and 3, the biggest play of the game thus far. Prime slips up in coverage just a little bit. He does secure the tackle, but he gave up the first down as well. And today, even though the Noles offense put up a decent amount of points today, this Noles defense just seems to be rattled. They give up another touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and it will ultimately cost them this game. 3 consecutive L's for the Noles, with all 3 being conference losses. They have to do better or they're going to fall to the bottom of the poll in the ACC. 3 straight conference losses, and now undefeated number 2 ranked conference foe Miami at home. And look, I know it sounds absolutely crazy, blasphemous coming out of my mouth right now, but I honestly believe Prime and the Noles are finna rise to the occasion and actually step up against a great team like Miami this week. And you know why I say that? Because they have prime time on their team. And after the legendary speech he gave the guys before the game, he's not only going to lead with his words, but by example, by getting the pick early in this game. If I had to point out any weaknesses in this defense, I wouldn't say it's a secondary. They're pretty solid, especially with Prime being the number 1 corner. But that defensive front, they just can't seem to stop the run. Literally, every time I look up, Prime is traveling from one sideline to the other or damn near there. He's always making plays across the field, and that shouldn't be the case. And keep in mind, that's one of the many things that make him great. And I said one. The other is being able to track down receivers, even outside of his zone, come downhill full speed and take the ball away to pick up his second pick of the game. Deion's ability to be in the perfect place at the perfect time, playing the ball the perfect way is on full display today, picking up his 3rd pick of the game. The number 2 ranked team in the country has been held to 3 points throughout 4 quarters. And if you ask me, this would have been a pick 6, but Prime ends up dropping his 4th pick of the day. Deion Sanders receives player of the game honors, 5 tackles, 3 picks. He's more than deserving. He showed out. You cannot name a better corner in man coverage right now in the entire country. Prime is going crazy, catching pick after pick. He's trying to make a statement this back half of the season. Is it just me, or this conference is just going crazy? Just about every team is either ranked or having a really good season. The ACC is on fire right now. As much as I've been giving Prime his kudos in the passing game, don't forget he will shed a block, come downhill, and lay that wood every once in a while. And you can just tell by the way Deion is baiting these routes, the way he's mirroring these receivers, his confidence is sky high. I ain't gonna lie, if I was a quarterback, I would have threw the number 80 myself. I'm trying to tell you, Prime got something to prove this back half of the season. He's sitting on top of this route perfectly, comes downhill, swipes it out the air, goes untouched to the end zone for yet another pick six. And you know it ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. To cap off this blowout win on the road in conference play, one of the guys get a pick and they put this one away. To have a bad 3-game stretch and then to bounce back and get big time wins against two prominent opponents, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited for these last couple of games. After an insane 4 to 5 week stretch, the Noles finally have some stability again. They're ranked number 19 in the country and they're currently 6-3. But no matter what their record says or what their ranking is, we will always find Prime chasing players across the goddamn field every time. It never fails. I simply do not understand how this man does it. It looks like he's beat on this route, but to get back in front of the receiver, get a hand on his ball, and almost pick it is outrageous. The Noles have a 4-point lead just before halftime, and even though it's 2 receivers upfield and 1 Prime, he seems to drop his second pick and the only person to get his hands on that ball. If you ask me, this play is severely underrated. Even though Prime has a deep zone, he abandons it to go down on the guy underneath it the second he sits down. I feel like there's some hidden IQ in that. Prime has had a few opportunities to get a pick this game. He's dropped both of them, but I can tell that this Syracuse quarterback is terrified to put his balls anywhere near Prime because he know he gonna snatch them up. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Thanos. Nah, bro, it's a pick from that boy Prime. You can't avoid that man forever. Prime and the Noles are on a hot streak. The team is winning. Prime is getting pick after pick, going crazy. Let's see if they can keep this up against Appalachian State this week. Honestly, I didn't think I'd see this at any point in the season. A deep ball, out route to the sideline, and Prime didn't jump this and pick that? That's crazy. Yet again, another example of Prime having to be Mr. Incredible on this FSU team. Their tackling is horrible. Not only does he have to track a player across the field, but up the field. He saved his touchdown. The Noles offense has really been taking off these last couple of games. 21 points in the first half, that's great, but 14 points allowed by this defense to this team, 31 points with plenty of time left in the fourth quarter. As much as I love to praise this defense, offense stole the show today. They did their thing. Prime has had at least 1 pick in like the last 4 consecutive games, but today, no picks. But the defense, they have come up big and made their own plays. The classic Florida Gator and Florida State Seminole game here in Gainesville with AR-15 at quarterback, this should be a good one. The Noles hold the Gators to a scoreless first quarter, and they're looking to repeat that again here in the second after a big hit in the backfield on this running back. The FSU defensive front is playing with a different level of intensity today. They putting pressure on Anthony Richardson, and he throws a terrible ball, but somehow Prime gets the pick. And anytime Deion gets a pick in the first half, you know it's going to be a great day defensively. It's pretty much going to be a no-fly zone this entire game. And I think AR knows that. He's trying to get the edge today with his athletic ability, and the way that number 15 on the Noles is just standing there watching him run, I don't think he want any parts. And what did I say? A no-fly zone. Prime got back in coverage a little late, but the ball ends up in his hands anyway, and he almost pulled off his greatest return of the season. They're up 21-10, but that boy Anthony Richardson is going to try Prime yet again. He puts this ball in the air, and it's snatched away by Deion. He comes down with the 3rd pick of the game. And after matching his most picks he's caught in a single game with 3, he picks up his 4th pick of the game, setting his own personal record. He almost took it back to the crib, but a legendary final game to his career. After missing out on the ACC championship, Prime and the guys didn't get to hold the trophy that they wanted the most, but Prime himself, he'll take home the Bednarik, Nargursky, and the Thorpe Award. I think it's safe to say Deion rewrote his senior season in the most epic way possible. First team All-American, led the league in picks, came top 5 in tackles. Primetime Deion Sanders had the most legendary senior season here at FSU in history.